Hi friends, and welcome back to this channel. Every once in a while the spark that I have for phonetics comes back and I feel the urge to work on my pronunciation. This is exactly what happened a couple of months ago, and so in August I decided to join an accent reduction course. In this video I wanted to share how it's going, what exactly I'm working on right now, and the progress so far. Before we move forward, here are a few things that you should know about me and my approach to accent work. I do not support accent shaming or mocking. How much you want to work on your accent is completely up to you. I do think it's beneficial to study phonetics just so your pronunciation is clear, but clear doesn't mean that you have to sound just like a native speaker. English is my third language, and I've never worked on my English accent as thoroughly as I did with French. I actually started with the British accent because that was the standard at my school, and later on I switched to American accent. I studied American sounds by myself with YouTube tutorials. I also did a bunch of targeted shadowing with YouTube tutorials, and I took a course with the phonetician, but we only practiced vowels. Lately, I've been noticing some improvements in my pronunciation. I do live in the United States, in California. I use English every day. I'm exposed to it every day, but also I keep making the same pronunciation mistakes, and recording this video is quite helpful in that area because that is how I got more aware of my pronunciation mistakes. Editing my own videos and hearing myself mispronounce the same things over and over again served as a motivation to actually start putting in some conscious effort and to take a course. My favorite way to work on accent is with a teacher who shares my native language, yes, who is obviously proficient in English and has an amazing accent and also a background in phonetics. I've been really enjoying working with teachers who know both Russian and English. I just think that they make courses so much more efficient and productive because they know exactly where I'm coming from as a Russian language speaker. They know all the struggles that I'm gonna have or have already just based on Russian sounds and Russian articulation and how we need to change that to sound more American. And they usually have better insight into how to do that, how to actually change my articulation. And as people who also went through all of that, they're usually very good at explaining and helping and coming up with exercises. So there is that. The course that I joined crossed all the boxes. It's gonna cover all the major topics: vowels, diphthongs, consonants, prosody, so general flow of speech, intonation, pauses, all that jazz. Each lesson consists of theory on how to produce a given sound and also a lot of practice, and every week I need to record myself pronounce sentences and send it to my teacher to get feedback. Okay, today is Wednesday. My homework deadline is not until Saturday, but because I'm flying out tomorrow to Boston, I really need to do everything today. And today I'm gonna continue studying American consonants. We already completed vowels, diphthongs, and we started on the consonants, and today's lesson is gonna be Floki. Floki, come. Давай. Today's lesson is gonna be about nasal sounds, n, m, n, and also L. Yeah, let's get started.
Удуло. Значит, у нас есть такое понятие, как light L и dark L. Little. Да, little. Все,
Little.
твердо.
Now, next.
Dinner, din.
Center, sandwich. That's pretty much the process. Structurally speaking, the course is really great. I've been looking for something like this. To me, it doesn't make sense to join a course if it doesn't have theory, if it doesn't teach me how to change my articulation, like the exact things to do. But also, if I pay for a course like this, I do want to get some feedback. Obviously, some practice too, but I can practice by myself for free. If I join a course like this, I do want to get some feedback, some personalized feedback from a teacher. Fortunately, I'm getting that and I'm happy with that. I wish we had some more exercises though, and more maybe diverse practice. But overall, so far, so good. What I also want to say here is that it is so hard to stay consistent. This course is going to span over 4 months. It's not like we have a lot of coursework during a week. We only get like one lesson, a couple of sounds in one lesson. We need to practice them every day, 15 minutes, and then record ourselves and go to a live workshop. But still, doing something every day and not missing deadlines has been really hard for me. I haven't missed a single deadline, I'm gonna say. Yeah! Not yet. Anyway, I'm going on vacation. So the day might come when I miss the deadline. But still, so if you're learning a language right now, or maybe working on your pronunciation in French or in English or in any other language, you keep pushing, you stay consistent, kudos to you. The reason why I decided to join this course was because I wanted to fix some of my most common mistakes in American pronunciation, and also to make it easier for myself to produce some sounds and sound combinations, because it's one thing to learn how to pronounce a sound just separately out of context, or even train it in a certain amount of words, but it's a different thing when this particular sound is surrounded by other sounds, and when you need to apply all of that in real life. I realized that I do not have muscle memory for a lot of American sounds. I know, theoretically, I know a lot of things about American accent. For example, I know that there are two different E sounds, lax and tense. For example, hill and heel. But it is hard to apply if you haven't practiced enough and if you do not have muscle memory, because in real life it's not only E sound that you need to pronounce, it's a lot of different sounds, and that's when it became hard for me. I knew the theory for a lot of things, so a lot of the theory that we have in this course, it's not new to me, but I still get a lot of value out of the course because I get to, revise, which is always good, but also to practice a little bit more and receive feedback. I also struggle quite a lot with American sound and also R controlled vowels, and it's been my struggle from day one. I know that I've improved and it's great, but again, I can pronounce it in certain words, but then there are combinations. For example, when R is at the beginning of a word, when it's really hard for me. For example, in hard, it's somewhat easy to pronounce, but rare or arrow, when there is w afterwards, it is afterwards. That's when it becomes very challenging for me. So I feel like consonants are somewhat easy for me. So whenever I do my homework and practice, I actually try to focus a little bit more on vowels, because this is where I struggle the most. And that's exactly what I'm gonna do now. What is helpful is that all these sentences that I'm reading actually have transcription. So when I read, I don't necessarily look at the words, but I look at transcription. My goal number one when I practice is to get the sounds right, even if I need to slow down and maximize my pronunciation to make it more obvious. And goal number two is to learn when to pronounce these sounds, because English, American pronunciation, and I assume any other accent in English, they do not have strict reading rules like in French. So it is really like memorizing case by case when to pronounce a certain sound. So I really love that we have the transcription, but also we have some audio to practice with a native speaker. So all the same sentences have an audio and a video attached to it so I can see the articulation. Okay, I'm gonna practice a little bit more and then I'm gonna record myself and send the video to the group chat. And that's gonna be it. A very interesting effect of this course is that I started paying attention to sounds whenever I go. When I read a book and I see a word that we had in our shadowing exercise, I will say that word out loud now, probably multiple times. Same goes for audiobooks or even when I go to a meeting at work and I obviously listen to everyone speak and I notice the words, I notice the sound. So there is this analysis going on in my head. And also I started doing shadowing more. Again, if I have a chance, definitely not during a meeting to repeat after someone, but if I listen to an audiobook, I am going to repeat some words. The quality of my shadowing has improved also because I started noticing sounds. So there is also transcription going on in my head, and I am more aware about different sounds, specifically vowels, I think. That's been one of my biggest challenges probably in English, like telling apart these different E sounds or different U sounds. Or a and e. So because I know the correct articulation for sounds, I try to apply that whenever I speak. It is still challenging to, apply everything. For example, right now we completed vowels and diphthongs, and when I do shadowing for the course, or even when I just speak English in my everyday life, like right now for this video, it is really hard to apply just everything and be aware of every sound. But this is what the shadowing practice is here for. Hopefully that's going to get better with time for me. So it may still be hard to bring all of that into my everyday life, but I still see some improvements here. A lot of people tell me that French pronunciation is so hard and that it is so hard to learn it and to produce all the sounds, and what you read is never what you see. But actually, this is quite the opposite. In French, all these reading rules are very well structured and very consistent. Of course, there are exceptions, but it's not as many, and there are still rules. And if you know the rules, you're going to be able to read almost every word. And this is not the same in English. There are no reading rules. There are certain patterns that you can learn, but you won't know for sure how to pronounce a word until you look up transcription in a dictionary or hear it pronounced and deduce sounds from that. So it's been really hard for me in general, in English, in American accent, is to actually read and know what sound I'm supposed to pronounce. That one of the things, one of the reasons why it is quite hard for me to bring it all into life. Because in French, if I know that E, A, U is always O fermé, closed O sound, then it's kind of like a no-brainer for me when I see this word or when I want to use it in my speech. In English, it always, takes a millisecond to analyze and remember what sound is supposed to be there, because there are barely any rules, like cloud and could. Why? Two different sounds, yet written similarly. Now, do I think that a course like this is efficient and helpful? Is this whole setup working out for me? I would say I have contradictory thoughts here, because on the one hand, yes, absolutely, it is definitely better than nothing. And in particular, if you are a busy person and you have a full-time job or other responsibilities, this course is not really intense. It's one lesson per week and you can complete it within an hour and then submit your homework. Ideally, you should practice every day at least 15 minutes, but I will be real, I'm not able to do that every week. Some weeks, yes, but not every. And there is still something that I can get out of it, even if I'm not being intense about it. I'm still committed, and doing something is still better than nothing. But on the other hand, a linguist in me is screaming, no, this is not enough and this is not efficient, because it is not very intense, and there is only as much attention you can get when you submit your homework. So back in the day when I went to a linguistics school, I majored in linguistics, and I have a video about that on my channel. We spent the first 3 months only working on our pronunciation. We were not allowed to do anything else in French but to practice sounds, do drills, similar exercises every day, 6 days per week, maybe 5-6 hours every day. And that was super efficient. not only because there was a lot of material, but also because there was someone to hold me accountable, our teacher. And also the same teacher would really provide more feedback on a daily basis. And that is extremely helpful. It is really hard to achieve the same level of program intensity and attention, and to get the same amount of attention from a teacher when it is all online, because the teacher is only gonna like check your homework, correct the mistakes, and maybe answer some of the questions that you have, but that's pretty much it. And it's kind of a little bit isolating too when it is an online course. Even there is a social aspect going on, like chat that everyone is in and can communicate with, it is still quite isolating. And I feel like it is also quite expensive to be taking courses like this if you want to achieve or like build consistency with courses like this and achieve the same level of intensity. Maybe not the same as in a linguistics school, you know, because not everyone has time for it and not everyone has a goal to justify all this hard work and intense work. I like the word intense. But anyway, I just feel like really it is not enough for me to really progress, but I still do it, and I still think that taking a course like this is great because something is better than nothing. So far, the improvements that I'm noticing is the R sound, like more, her, run. It is becoming slightly easier. I don't know if you can tell the difference from my previous videos. Maybe it's not that obvious, but I am just noticing that in some words, pronouncing R is becoming easier for me. Also, I think I nailed the American ah sound, like in the word a lot. It is spelled with an O, and usually in cases like this, I would really tend to pronounce aw. I would try to say lot, like this. And it's been really my struggle for a very long time. And I think I am finally getting that a lot. And also the cup sound is getting better, like loved, sun. I don't know. Well, I hope. So yeah, here's a little update from me, what I've been up to. Let me know down in the comments below if you're working on your accent in any language and what language. You can share your progress if you want, or just any insights. And also let me know how you worked on your American accent or British accent. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more videos about languages, and I'll catch you in my next one.